Hi everyone, my name's Owen Hagmaier,
And my name is Lydia Geygan.
and today we're going to be talking about unhealthy eating here at Miami University's campus.
During today's presentation, we're going to cover the clarification process, the ideation process, and the development that we went through in order to solve a problem of our choice.
So we realized that there's a silent killer here at Miami University and tons of colleges across the nation, eating disorders. They've increased from 15 to 29% in just 13 years. That's a big problem.
Obesity rates have also increased by more than 15% in first-year college students, and 80% of females and 40% of incoming freshmen in general already have an unhealthy relationship with food by the time they come on campus.
So we decided to pose a problem statement. How can we help defeat the normalization of disordered eating here at Miami University's campus?
In order to start to try to solve this problem, we knew that we had to get some background information first. We discovered that 35% of normal dieters progress into unhealthy dieting. We also reiterated that 80% of freshmen and 40% of freshmen in general that aren't females already have an unhealthy relationship with food. We lastly discovered that eating disorders can form from a lack of self-esteem, depression, loneliness, lack of control, and or from stress caused by the cultural pressure to be skinny, and all of these can fester on a college campus. So in order to start to understand how our customers feel, we went through an empathy map. Using this empathy map, we were able to develop unbiased conversations with our customers in order to really understand how they feel the problem could be best solved and what would help them most in the end.
Like Lydia said, who better to ask for an opinion than the consumer themselves? So we got on the ground and interviewed freshmen here at Miami University. The first we interviewed was Bridget Lose, and she claimed that eating healthy on campus is hard. And honestly, I don't know any resources for that on campus. We then interviewed Ellery Prusco, who said, adjusting my eating to the college schedule has honestly been pretty hard.
We also found a video on YouTube in which a college freshman at Nebraska University, Ray Thomas, talks about her eating disorder past and how she was able to overcome that and the cultural norms about eating disorders on campus.
So after finishing our head and heart research, we realized three things. Many students are unaware of the resources Miami University offers. We also realized that tons of students are overwhelmed with the food options at the dining hall, and walking in is like a war zone for them. And the third thing that we realized was that many students are actually just afraid to reach out. Some are even aware of the resources and just aren't willing to reach out. So we created a persona. And so Claire represents a Miami University student. And she says, my name's Claire, and I'm really struggling with isolation at Miami University. I have no control over my life right now, except for what I'm eating. I'm so stressed, and I know I need help, and I wish Miami had the resources to help me. And so many students, just like Claire, are going through the same things during this COVID time. There's tons of stress, and eating is just one thing that students shouldn't have to stress about.
So using Claire as our model, we posed the challenge question, how might we help students to feel comfortable enough to come forward with their eating issues?
And from there, we began our ideation process. We started with a reverse brainstorm. So we took our question and we flipped it to generate terrible ideas. And then we used those terrible ideas to create good ideas. Then we chose Lotus Blossom brainstorming, where we started with 8 ideas for our challenge question and then created 8 more ideas for each of those ideas. Then we did rapid ideation brainstorming, where we threw out ideas as fast as they came to our minds. And finally, we used convergence to refine these ideas and choose the greatest. So during this convergence process, we kind of had a little bit of a criteria. We realized that it had to be something new. The solution had to be unique and something that hasn't been done before, because frankly, that's boring. It also had to be feasible. It has to be something that we could actually do. It has to be something that's possible and tangible. And finally, insight. The product had to touch on at least one of the insights that we covered and discovered. So we narrowed down our 103 ideas to 12, and from there, using this criteria, we narrowed it down to 3.
Our top 3 ideas were 1, a Miami app, 2, creating a buddy system, and 3, hosting an Uptown Resources event. We really didn't have a lot of information on any of these ideas at first. All we knew is that our Miami app would be a healthy eating app that tracks foods, messages counselors, and maybe contacts a buddy on campus. And with this idea, we also created the buddy system, which would be a buddy system student health club at Miami, which pairs together struggling Miami students. And our last idea was an Uptown Resources event, in which disordered eating resources were shown through booths uptown at Miami, and students could just stop by and get whatever they needed in order to have the resources that they needed to step forward. From these ideas, we created our first step of prototype refinements. So for our buddy system, you can see here that we created a flyer for the opening of the club, and it kind of gives some information about how to join and just a little bit about what it does. And it basically would just connect people that are dealing with disordered eating or just in general, a couple like mental health problems. And it would just, and our hope would be that it would provide a more like conversational and less like official way for people to have the support that they need. We also created the Uptown Disordered Eating event prototype found in the middle, which is just a general, it has like the booths that would be there and just kind of like the resources that would be provided from counseling services at Miami through off-campus services. And our last prototype was for the Miami University Healthy Eating app. And that was just the home screen for the app, which would show that it has a diet tracker. You could message a counselor and there would be emergency criteria or just like a weekly check-in. And you could also maybe contact a buddy through that. So after getting some feedback from our classmates and just making some final decisions about what we felt would actually help the consumer the most, we decided to create a Miami University Disordered Eating Resources event. This event would be held uptown at Miami University and would have a couple booths that give out business cards or pamphlets, or we'd have counselors like there physically able to talk to Miami students in a really low-key situation. And it would just give them more information about student counseling services, mental health student organizations, and off-campus mental health resources. Our hope is that through this information, students will have the resources that they need in order to come forward, and that they will feel confident enough to know that there are people there through Miami and in general that are there to help them. So in this last part of the presentation, we're just gonna reflect a little bit on what Project 2 taught us about the ideation process and just in general. I know for me personally, in Project 2, I learned not to settle too early on a solution. My big thing early on was that I'd pick this one idea and my solution would honestly come before I knew what the problem even was. So through this, I just kind of learned that you really have to focus on the consumer and that there's a lot of research out there, but none of the stats are ever going to mean as much as knowing what a person is actually feeling and how best you can help those individuals.
Ultimately, I learned that the ideation process can't happen overnight. It's something that requires work and work and work, and you have to chip away at it in small pieces. And so one thing that I really took away a lot from was the interview process, where we interviewed people and got to know about them, and about the consumer. And it really like connected me to this project emotionally. And it helped me discover that people really are struggling with eating disorders here at Miami. Even if you may not see it, it really is a silent killer. And ultimately, it really connected me emotionally to this project.
Yeah, I think we both took away a lot from this project, and we're really happy that you were all able to come to our presentation today. And we hope that our solution helps a lot of people out there. Thank you.
Thank you.